Welcome to the weekly security briefing. Today, we are analyzing three distinct operational failures: the violent escalation of the Los Angeles protests, the broad daylight abduction of a journalist in Baghdad, and a targeted stalker attack in Santa Monica. Each of these events exposes a persistent vulnerability. We are examining the gap between the assumptions built into a security plan and the actual reality of the operating environment. The No Kings protest movement mobilized an estimated 8 million participants across 3,300 locations in a single day. The daytime marches were heavily attended and peaceful, but the environment shifted entirely after dark. In downtown Los Angeles, an organized faction converged on the Metropolitan Detention Center after agitators began attacking the perimeter. The LAPD issued dispersal orders and deployed less lethal munitions, including tear gas and beanbag rounds, to hold the line. Altogether, 75 arrests were made that night. While most were cited for failing to disperse, 8 were juveniles, and 1 individual faced a felony charge for carrying a bladed weapon. Combining armed participants with the crowd's use of industrial respirators and concrete blocks reveals a high level of tactical preparation. Organized militant groups are actively using massive lawful crowds as camouflage. When agitators embed themselves within peaceful marches to stage premeditated violence, a standard crowd prediction advance work becomes ineffective. We can trace the abduction route of American journalist Shelley Kittleson. She was snatched in broad daylight on Sahdoun Street in Baghdad. Iraqi security forces initiated a high-speed pursuit that ended in Babel province when the kidnappers' primary vehicle crashed. By then, Kittleson had already been transferred to a second getaway car. The timeline of her movements reveals a severe intelligence failure. Prior to her abduction, Kittleson was turned back at the Syrian border. She received explicit, repeated threat warnings from the U.S. Embassy, and intelligence placed her on a targeted kill or capture list held by Kataib Hezbollah. The detained driver from the crash has been confirmed as a member of the 45th Brigade of the Popular Mobilization Forces. Now, recovery operations are underway as organizations press the State Department to formally designate Kittleson as a hostage. A decade of field experience and a strategy of keeping a low profile offered no protection against a paramilitary organization equipped with dedicated intelligence networks. If an adversary already knows your location, passive awareness will not stop an operation. In Santa Monica, musician Lindsey Buckingham was targeted outside a private appointment. A suspect ambushed him, threw an unknown liquid substance at him, and immediately fled the scene on foot. The suspect is known to Buckingham's security team. A judge granted a permanent restraining order against her in late 2024, yet she gave a television interview admitting to the attack the very next day. The operational vulnerability here is severe. The attacker tracked a highly private, non-public schedule and waited to execute her ambush in the transition zone, that brief exposed window between the vehicle and the building entrance. The introduction of an unknown liquid forces, an immediate shift in a protection detail's medical and tactical protocols managing fixated threats, requires aggressive counter-surveillance to secure these transition zones before the principal ever steps out of the vehicle. Scanning the global threat environment, the FBI is actively responding to a major surveillance system breach in Damascus. Demonstrators breached the perimeter of the UAE embassy, and intelligence has officially linked the Baghdad kidnapping to Kataib Hezbollah. Additionally, Ukrainian naval drones successfully struck the Shushkori's oil terminal at the Russian port of Novorossiysk, disrupting a critical energy export route. These cascading security failures are occurring against the backdrop of the expanding U.S.-Iran war. As Operation Epic Fury enters its 5th week, forces are bracing for an impending Tuesday deadline amidst a new Pakistan-brokered ceasefire proposal. Plans are built on assumptions, and the work of security is knowing which of those assumptions to question before the environment tests them for you. To get these operational insights delivered directly to your inbox, subscribe to the weekly Circuit Magazine briefing.